Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. Nothing fancy with a couple more knife reviews. First off, I'm going to introduce this review, not with this knife being a Cold Steel Voyager in medium size, partially serrated blade. It's a very fine, lightweight utility knife. I like it a lot. I will make reference to it in that sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with it, that some users just will not like this type of knife. Whether it's the FRN handles, that is a Zytel type handle, they don't like it. They don't have an adjustable pivot screw, and they just don't have faith in the construction of a knife like this. I've had good experience overall with knives like this, but perhaps you want something more, and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, I'll make another video on this knife. Stay tuned for that. But so what do you do if you don't want this? You want a little bit more. There are several options out there, and one of my favorites always is go to the Spyderco website and see what they're making. I love Spyderco because they make all kinds of different blades that are very interesting. Yes, they have that kind of Spyderco design philosophy, which I absolutely love, and they always use really high quality materials. I'm a big fan of Spyderco. So along those lines, let's say we don't want an FRN style knife. We want something a little bit tougher, more heavier duty, and that has that quality of manufacture that just makes us proud to own it. I would recommend this knife. This is a Spyderco Cali 3 and G10 handle. I absolutely love this knife. It would fall into the category of lightweight tactical, maybe more lightweight utility knife, because it actually is superb in that role as a utility knife. Let's talk about the specifics of this knife, and we'll talk about what kind of advantages it gives us. First off, I'm going to get right to the construction of it. This is not an open pillar. It has a solid back, but it has full stainless steel linings on it, so it's standard lock back. But a lot of folks will feel that those stainless steel liners will give them a much more heavier duty use knife that they can withstand side to side torque. As I use it hard through the years, whatever you define hard as being, it's different for different people, but a lot of people like that heavy duty stainless steel liner. Now, how do I feel about it? I feel that it does have a place as long as it's executed properly. And by that I mean, I don't like them just throwing stainless steel in the knife just for the heck of it and just for hype. There are several knives that fall into that category that are extremely heavy for what their intended role is, and I think they miss the mark. But they're trying to appeal to those types of buyers that want that heavy duty construction. I think that's oversell and overplay. I don't really think you need it. But if you want to see how to do it right, look at this Cali 3. This is a small knife with a blade being 2 3/4 inches long. Also, the stainless steel liners inside are drilled out so they're lightened as much as possible. And overall, it's not that heavy of a knife. At 3.2 ounces, you still have full stainless steel liners. You have that heavy duty or that heavier duty construction that you might be seeking. So they do a really good job. Maybe that's more of a function of its size than design. In other words, if we were to enlarge this knife to a much larger size, maybe like this Emerson knife, it would be heavier. In fact, this is like almost a 5-ounce knife. Actually, I think a little bit more than that. Anyways, as a function of its size, this Cali 3 knife is superb, and it can have that heavier duty construction without a huge weight penalty. How about the blade on the Cali 3? And I am a big fan of Spyderco blades. I love the ergonomics on a Spyderco. They may not, some people may look at it and go, that's a goofy looking blade. Those are generally people who haven't used a Spyderco. Okay, you need to use a Spyderco to appreciate the ergonomics of the blade. Especially this Cali 3 that has that nice jimped thumb ramp on the top and bottom. Thank you very much, Spyderco. Love that. Where you can lock this blade in and absolutely have positive control over the cutting chore that you have before you. It's a full flat grind, which I'm a big fan of. I think they cut better. They're more useful in day-to-day cutting tasks, I think. I don't mind a hollow grind blade either, but I do love the full flat grind blade. This one's made out of VG10 steel, which I've had very good experiences with in keeping an edge and being able to take a very fine and razor sharp edge. And speaking of which, it comes razor sharp from Spyderco. That's something they do very well from the factory. unlike some manufacturers. I will say most get it and they will deliver the knife sharp. I think it's pretty much inexcusable to have a knife come out of the box and not have it just razor sharp. This Spyderco Cali 3 meets that specification. So great ergonomics on the blade. It's a great utility blade. Can function in a self-defense role if it needs to. Has enough belly and sweep for a slashing cut. It can go for a penetrating cut with a very good lock-in with your thumb and index finger. Adequately reinforced tip. Just a great blade shape. Speed of deployment, like all Spydercos, I think is adequate. Put some tension under that thumb stud and flip it on out there, and it will rock your world if you do it right. I don't have any issues with deploying a Spyderco knife. I think they're adequate. They're excellent, actually. Benchmade is the top. So you've seen some of my other videos explaining how Benchmade just gets that deployment down to almost auto-like speeds, but Spyderco does a very good job as well. Okay, more specifics. How about the pivot screw? Yep, it's adjustable. I believe this one does have bushings in it. I haven't taken it apart to see what kind. Sorry about that. But it is adjustable should you need to do it. But the lockup is rock solid. No side-to-side play, no up and down play. For a $100 plus knife, that's what I would expect. I don't want any play in my knives. The handles, i.e. the G10 handles, are riveted to the stainless steel scale, so they cannot be taken off unless you want to grind them and put some screws in them yourself, which you can always do. I don't see that as being a real issue. The only time I'd be really worried about that is if I put this thing in salt water and I got this knife immersed. I'd really like to be able to take it apart and get all the salt out of it. This stainless steel will rust very quickly in salt water. VG10, AUS-8, it all goes bad. Goes south really rapidly in my experience in salt water. But being able not being able to take the scales off is not a huge hit in my opinion. Clip is excellent. I love the clip. Yeah, it's a simple wire clip, but who cares? It works and it's adequately strong. It's set far back in the handle. I have found it retains in the pants pocket really good. It's just a great clip design. I love it. And it's lightweight too, so that helps keep this design lightweight. Instead of adding a solid metal stainless steel clip, they went with some very strong wire bent in appropriate form. I love it. I think it's a great clip. I love G10. If I was to give you guys probably my favorite handle material in a knife, it would have to probably be a properly checkered G10. It has such a great purchase on it. It has a good warm feel under the hand. It's something that you can enjoy holding. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It really locks your hand in, and it's durable. My G10 knives that I have used hard, I found that it just wears and wears and wears. So G10 is probably my favorite handle material. The disadvantage of it, of course, would be maybe it's more expensive to produce. We're going to have to go with a solid lined metal on the inside. In other words, we have to have something to attach those G10 slabs to, and so that's going to create more expense, and oftentimes, especially if it's not executed properly, more weight. So, but G10 just is beautiful. Love the Spyderco logo. This is a good looking knife. Has a lot of intrinsic value in it. In other words, it's just a cool knife to play with. It's a great knife to hold and to flick over and over again. And that's kind of hard to put a price on. The kind of enjoyment the blade will give you over the years. Never mind its utility and application and just day-to-day tasks. But this knife fills the bill. Finally, it's got that indented Dave Boy, I think they call it, lock. You know, they put a little indentation here. I don't see a need for it, but whatever. I find it's easy enough to release. No problem. The only disadvantage with that design is it's more of a two-handed release. I have to come down here, maybe fold the blade separately, as opposed to a liner lock, which would be one-handed, or even an axis lock like those outstanding Benchmades. But the Cali 3 by Spyderco, I would give it a 10 out of 10 for its execution. It's one of my favorite higher-end tactical / utility knives in this range. Blade being just under 2 3/4 inches in length. It is just over $100. It's more of an expensive knife, but if you're looking for a heavier duty, super cool, fun, fondly knife, one that won't let you down, look to the Cali 3. Nothing fancy. See ya.